Grand Rising Soul Fam. Today I wanted to come on and share from the Wisdom Keepers deck the 64 Faces of Awakening by Dr. Rosy Aronson. And today I am sharing the Wisdom Keepers story for Jinki 21. So here is the card there, and this is the Shadow of Control, the gift of authority, and the divine expression or the city of valor. So it starts off with a Richard Rudd quote that says, ultimately, the only ones who will be given positions of control will be those who have given up being in control. Programming partner is 48. The gene key, the divine expression of wisdom. My wisdom story. I was a trust fund baby. While my dad disappeared behind closed doors with business moguls and ruled the world, my mother ruled the household with her perfectly manicured nails and social graces. As they raised me, they were controlling and critical, and I was submissive. I cringed at the way they treated our servants, whom I suspected secretly despised my parents as much as I did. The moment I got my driver's license, I grabbed some cash and bolted, leaving my parents and my trust fund in the dust. I had no plan, no college education. All I cared about was being free of their stuffy, oppressive world. So I worked odd jobs, went with the flow, and reveled in the fact that I no longer represented the imperious elite. But when my financial cushion ran out, so did my sense of adventure. Too humiliated to beg my parents to take me back, I lived in my car behind our house, eating the food that was thrown away. One of the servants found me there and insisted on taking me in. Her family had almost nothing but gave me everything. I was grateful and humbled. I realized how bitter and selfish I'd become, how deeply I resented my parents for their narrowness and selfishness, at society for ignoring the needy, and more importantly, at myself for being too weak and pathetic to help myself, much less anyone else. I'd become as obsessed about money as my father, and as disconnected from the real world as my mother. If I truly wanted my life to be useful, I'd have to take responsibility for it. From that point on, my heart took over. I became driven by a deep desire to give back to this family and serve those in need. I got my act together, re-engaged with the world, and eventually reconciled with my parents. Instead of rejecting their resources, I inspired them to recognize the humanity of the people who worked for them. My parents are now the biggest financial supporters of my efforts to give homes to the homeless, bring gardens to food deserts, and represent people whose voices have not yet been heard. The more my heart opens, the more loyalty I inspire in the most unlikely places. My gift to you. I come to share that true power has nothing to do with money or control. True power is about speaking and acting from the heart, and grounding all that you do in a deep desire to serve. Becoming the true authority in your own life requires both that you surrender and that you rise up to meet whatever life brings your way, with enthusiasm, gratitude, and a deep sense of responsibility. You will know that you are owning your authority when you inspire loyalty and connectivity wherever you go. When everyone you represent, no matter what role they play, feels empowered, impassioned, and respected. It's time to listen deeply to the will of the groups in your life and act sincerely on their behalf. It's time to become the trustworthy person I know that you can be. Questions for contemplation. Where in your life do you feel controlled? How might the fear of being controlled be running your life or influencing the decisions you make? Are you so afraid of misusing your power that you are not using it at all? In what relationships do you tend to be controlling, submissive? Think back to your best relationships. What were the conditions that made you feel safe enough to surrender, to own your authority? And lastly, where in your life can you surrender even more? Just fall into a giant trust fall with the universe, sending you so much love.